The glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry is nearly blinding, as it provides a fantasy world of visual eye candy. The art of seduction in image making holds weight and will influence your perception of beauty. After all, only beautiful people are seen on the big screen. Well, what exactly is beautiful? Is it Snow White, Goldilocks, or a long-haired, thick red bone? There are many black women who do not fit that description and are left wondering why I don't see girls who look like me on TV. So join me on a journey through the industry to unfold this obsession with our complexion. It's noticeable in a lot of the music videos you see. The lead girl is always, this light skin, long, straight hair.
Look like you.
I wouldn't necessarily say I was exotic,
right.
But they look mixed. You can't really tell what race.
Right.
They're clearly not black,
Right.
basically. So, where do you think that comes from? Or why do you think it is the way it is? Because it's been like that since the beginning.
And it's a problem?
I'm not saying it's a problem, it's just it's an observation. The artist would be dark skinned, but the leading lady would be like really light skinned or look nothing like the artist, like not someone that they could be for, like your sister or anything like that, because they look totally opposite.
Right, I think a lot of times, I think that's just the entertainment aspect of visuals, and it's just a getaway. You understand? It might be just a different look for somebody who at home, and it's just a mental getaway, you know what I mean?
If it's like a video with like a dark artist and they feel like it should be all dark girls, the girls kind of like hate that they put in or give a spotlight to a girl that's either Latin or of another race.
I don't think I could probably ever book like a Usher video or a P. Diddy video. Like, honestly, like, look at the girls that they have in those videos. Like, the girls that they have in those videos tend to be like exotic, 5'9", really beautiful. From Europe or something like that.
Did you ever find that there was preferential treatment or a division between like lighter skinned girls and how they were casted and darker skinned girls? And I know it's like that also in the movie world when they're casting roles for film. So what's your take on that?
It's pretty obvious that there is definitely a preference towards light-skinned women other than dark-skinned. That's why you called it the token white girl or the token dark-skinned girl in the video, filled with light-skinned girls, which is now graduated into becoming, the exotics, the ones from, South America.
Honestly, I think light skin and exotic, I think they get more exposure. I think the directors are the ones to put them in front of the camera more. That's what people want to see a lot of the times. They want to see the exotic. They want to see, it's bad, it's another stereotype, but it's always, the light-skinned girl or, the exotic beauty.
You see Beyonce in ads and they're like, they lighten her skin so much to make her look pale. There was even the rumor that they, in the group Destiny's Child, she always had to be the lightest one.
And that's just because how it is in life, period. Like, light-skinned girls, from the beginning of time, got more respect than dark-skinned girls, because light-skinned girls are closer to white girls. The white race always been in power in this country or in the world, period. So with a girl being light-skinned, she potentially mixed with white, she potentially got some type of white in her, and she closer to a white woman. So that's why she'd get more respect, get more chances to be in magazines or on TV.
I think if you are, as light as Mariah Carey, but you have an afro, or your hair is quote-unquote nappy or natural, then you're not as desirable. They're looking for Goldilocks, they're looking for Cinderella. All of that, I think, plays into this notion of who's beautiful and who isn't.
Now, what I think has happened with hip-hop, which is really no different than what has happened to some segments of our society, that they say sex sells, and also the notion of beauty and how beauty is defined in white America is Miss America with blonde hair, blue eyes.
It shouldn't just be, you know, if you're lighter than a brown paper bag, or, you know, oh, all of a sudden she's super exotic because she's from another country. I mean, you even have girls that lie all the time now about, you know, where they're from or what their breakdown is, just because they know that that will ensure them getting a job. You know, it's true, but it's not fair.
There is a color discrepancy in our culture, and I do think that there is a certain amount of grace and preference given to those with lighter skin or what is seen as straighter hair or curlier hair. You know, even in the black community, they have a comment, they have a phrase called good hair.
I actually don't know why they tend to like that. Me personally, I like all types of women, but ain't nothing like some good chocolate skin with a good perm. Ain't nothing like it.
But I don't think it has anything to do with light skin and being more beautiful. It's just that with hip hop market in general, it's very multicultural. So it's like sometimes if you do have a lighter skinned female, she can go for Hispanic, Dominican, Italian. There's so many multiracial markets they can hit off of one girl that I think is more on business than it is anything else. It's like, okay, well, she can hit all markets.
Okay, if this girl light skinned, then you don't know if she black, you don't know if she Hispanic, and she might be white.
You have some people who just feel like the more mixed a woman looks or the lighter she is, then the more demographics she'll appeal to.
These types are very specific, and when people are cast, it's very specific. So they're gonna say that to basically gloss over the fact that their preference is not diverse, that their preference is for, you know, light skin or biracial or women with long hair. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't hide behind marketability. That's not what it is. You're just casting what you want.
Light-skinned women, the way the light hit their face, the way they show up from far away, the way they look from far away, you can see the prettiness in their face, you can see how they face shape, you can see their facial expressions a lot better. When a dark-skinned woman try to do it from far away, it's kind of hard to get her facial expressions and the faces that she making so that's why they tend to focus on the dark-skinned woman body. That's why a dark-skinned woman, when she get in the video, she gotta have a crazy fat ass or some titties busting out or something that stick out so they can focus on that opposed to her face.
You know, it is nice to see like regular girl, you know, around the way girl in music videos that aren't just like booty shaking, you know. When somebody's talking about love and stuff like that, like I would like to see like a, you know, a beautiful chocolate girl or something in the videos.
If they do get in a video, it is more like they play the friend of the light-skinned girl, or they play the girl with the crazy body and big hips, big butt. It's not a lead role.
They definitely have a perception as to what role can be specifically played by what shade of black or brown we are. You know, the light-skinned girl tends to be the Layla Rochons, the Halle Berrys, the Jada Pinkett's, the Vixens, the Beauties, and whatever else. And then the darker-skinned girls, it's unfortunate that the opportunities aren't exactly the same.
Unfortunately, that whole misrepresentation of what integration is or was supposed to be, and that there's still some black people who don't feel that our culture, our identity, our own being is enough, is worthy, and that some seek validation from white culture.
I used to not like my skin when I was younger because I grew up in Louisiana. The lighter skinned people were always treated better. I call it whitewashed, and that's why a lot of guys prefer lighter skinned girls or even girls of a different ethnicity that have the same features a black girl would have. You want her to have ass, you want her to have this, you want her to have that, but you want her to be another race.
It started so long ago, like I don't know, it's just crazy. Like, people say so much, like, oh, they talk about it, but nobody's trying to change or do anything. Like, everyone knows it's a problem, but no one's really doing anything about it. They're just talking, like, oh, it's a shame, you know, dark skin, light skin, but I don't see anyone doing anything about it.
This issue of complexion obsession is seen but not heard. Where did the obsession with light skin begin, and how did it become so prevalent in our culture? There is a huge disparity in the experiences that people have with color. Some don't see the obsession of light skin as a significant issue, yet others see things the polar opposite.
I don't feel like it's a huge issue unless somebody brings it up. You know, to tell you the truth, I really don't hear about it a lot with my friends that are biracial.
But there's bias in long hair, short hair. There's bias, you know, big booty. Okay, sometimes booty's in, sometimes breasts are in.
And I think it's just more about mixing it all together, and it's not really about race, it's just about getting that spot and being the right one for the right part.
I don't pay attention to that. If it's going on, then I must have on blinders. I'm a very confident woman. I'm very secure in who I am. What's meant for me is meant for me, and no one can take that away.
It's about the energy you put out. It's about what you exude when you go in the room. So you can't sit up there and just be pouting because it's a whole room full of light-skinned girls. You're just focusing on color. Why don't you focus on yourself? Because if you have a great personality and they love you, they're gonna wanna be around you. And that's at the end of the day. Nobody wants to be around a woman just talking about, oh, I don't want to be around her because she got this. You may be missing out on a really great business opportunity focusing on race instead of focusing on yourself as a woman.
I think dark-skinned girls are discouraged from modeling now because they don't see as many girls that represent them when they turn on television. They don't see as many girls that look like them when they open magazines, and it's sad because they're very beautiful.
Just to be honest, a lot of times at these video shoots, it might be a lot more Spanish girls show up. Because a lot of times I go to the videos, not saying sisters don't model, because they do, but I believe a lot more of the other ethnicities are modeling more.
Now, when you started modeling, like, how did it become more noticeable to you? Like, what are some situations that made you think that, okay, my dark skin is...
Well, one time, it was a group of us. We went for an audition for Rip the Runway, and we were on the line, and one of the girls that I was with was like, we need to all split up because you know they're not picking all 5 of us, and we're all dark. Even with a music video, they're not gonna pick have a whole video with 5 bad dark-skinned girls. They'll have one token.
And even you go look at the magazine now. Look at the covers. Show magazine, they have a whole edition dedicated to Latinos, then they have a white girl edition. These girls are beautiful. That does not take anything away from them, but they have their own audience of their own race. As far as we go, we only have the black people as our fan base and hoped that we can cross over.
It relates to the concept of black beauty and Eurocentrism, and it's a very, very complicated, multi-layered conversation and discussion, and it's filled with a lot of anger and stuff that I really like to stay very far away from.
Look how long, like this has been going on probably since back in the day with slavery, like, because you had the slaves that would be in the house, and then you had the ones that would be in the field. So this stems from a very long time, and I think that those people from then carried it on to their grandchildren and stuff, and this is why it's so strong now.
Who knows, maybe it goes back to the days of slavery when the people that got to stay in the house, that were the house slaves, were supposedly better than the people that work outside in the field in the sun all day. Who knows?
If you really want to take it back, we can take it back to the William Lynch Act.
There's a letter they called, whether it's pathetic or a myth, Willie Lynch, and the whole notion of he had this proposition of how to control the African in America, and that is to pit the young against the old, men against women, and the light skin against the dark skin, and that if you were able to do this, that you wouldn't have to worry about black people becoming one and unified, because we always have this internal conflict.
In history and psychology, you study, the doll test, and when they, tested young black women with dolls, and a lot of them, for those that might not know, they placed a young woman, a young black girl, either from the ghetto, from the inner city, in front of 2 dolls. The dolls were either a black doll or a white doll, and they would ask the girls which one was prettier. And a lot of the women, or the young girls in the study, wound up picking the white doll and saying that was prettier.
So, little boy, you're so cute. Look at him. Oh, he's adorable. Which doll do you think is prettier if you had to pick? This one. Which doll would you say was prettier? Quick.
This one.
Really? Yeah. Why do you guys think this one's prettier?
I understand she's a black baby doll, but they don't try to make black baby dolls look cute. They just think it's a black baby doll, then automatically a black person gonna buy it.
Which doll do you guys think is prettier if you had to pick one? This one? Which doll do you think is prettier? This one? Well, why do you think that this one's prettier than this one?
She's scary and evil and ugly.
Seriously?
I have a little cousin who told me that he's only going to date white girls. He said that he's 7 years old and said he's only going to date white girls and that he doesn't find any black girls attractive. So it starts, he's not getting that mentality from himself. He's getting that from either his friends or other peers or something like that. So it's got to start in our communities to change what the definition of beauty is.
We've been conditioned, American society and some blacks, that white, connotes beauty and goodness, and black connotes evilness and bad and immoral things.
Like Jerry J has been on our show, and she's the one that I believe Young Berg was supposed to be doing a reality show, and he said he really liked her and thought she was very, pretty. But they always say, oh, you're very pretty for a brown-skinned girl or for a dark-skinned girl.
Now, what are some of the things that you've heard or comments that you got regarding your appearance growing up?
Well, growing up, I really never had any issues with my complexion. It wasn't until I got a little bit older, maybe high school, when guys used to always say oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. They had a problem with it more than me. I didn't even really notice it until people brought it to my attention. You're really pretty for a dark-skinned girl. And I'm like, what?
So, when people say that to you, what type of reaction would you?
My reaction is usually, when I first heard it, it was just I was with my mother one time, and this guy said it to me, and he was just wow, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. I was probably in the 11th grade, and my mother was like, what? What did you say? She's pretty for a dark-skinned girl? Why can't she just be a pretty girl? I didn't really pay it no mind. When my mother brought it to my attention, I'm like, yeah, right? Why do you have to put so much emphasis on my skin color?
When people meet me, right, the first thing they look at me, they stare at me a little bit, and they say, you have nice skin. I'm like, okay. And in my mind, I'm like 5, 4, 3. And they said, yeah, because you have nice skin for a dark-skinned girl. What are you mixed with? Why can't I just be a Negro chick?
Growing up, my family my family looks like the brown section of a crayon box. So I didn't really grow up with a color complex because I saw all kinds of different colors in my family. I've experienced it. There were times where people would say to me, you would be pretty if you were lighter, or you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
Well, first, I guess start off with your racial background.
Well, my mother is African American and my father is Italian. My mother's family is from the South. So actually, my great-grandmother still has my great-great-grandmother still has whips on her back and stuff because they were both slaves. So it was a big issue in my household with race because they still kind of had bitter feelings over how they were treated, and then my mom having biracial children. So it was kind of hard for my great-great-grandmother to accept us because it was just so many flashbacks of what happened to her.
A lot of the older white folks, there's a lot older, from the older generations, it's easier, it seemed like it might be easier for them to accept a light-skinned girl. That might not necessarily accept a dark-skinned girl too.
Through years and years of it being like that, sometimes the black man has a subconscious attraction to a light-skinned woman.
If you were African American or dark-skinned, that you couldn't be beautiful because you didn't have blonde hair, blue eyes, and white skin. This was perpetuated within the culture and society. Some black people internalize this notion of color.
I'm still gonna go to an Usher casting. I'm still gonna go to a P. Diddy casting. I'm still gonna try. You never know. I might walk in and they may have in their mind that they want an exotic girl, but I may walk in and they may be like, wow, she's gorgeous, I wanna use her. So, at the end of the day, you never